Good morning everyone. Today we are going to start with class 9th physics chapter 1 exercise C, that is the measurement of time period with the help of simple pendulum. Before starting how to measure the time period, we will know what is simple pendulum. I have just tried to make one simple pendulum for you so that you are able to see. This is a type of simple pendulum. What is in simple pendulum? A metallic ball with heavy mass. I have tied one type of small ball over here with heavy mass. This is known as bob. It is tied with the help of thread. Then secondly, these are two things. So what is simple pendulum? A simple pendulum is a heavy mass suspended from a rigid support by a massless and inextensible string. I repeat, what is simple pendulum? A simple pendulum is a heavy mass which is known as bob suspended from a rigid support by a mean of massless and inextensible string. So this is the simple pendulum. Now some of the terms which are related to simple pendulum is, first term, oscillation. What is oscillation? When we are having the bob tied with a thread, the position which is fixed from the center is its mean position when it is not oscillating, when it is in stable form. For example, it is still now, so it is the mean position. When I move this from mean to some other position, this is known as its extreme position. When I release it from mean to extreme, or from mean to extreme, bring from mean to extreme and release it, it start moving to and fro motion. This motion is known as its oscillation. What is one oscillation now? When it covers the distance from one mean to extreme, then another extreme, then back to mean. It is its one complete oscillation. Now come to diagram. What is one complete oscillation? One complete to and fro motion of the pendulum is called one oscillation. If this position of the bob, this is fixed position, or you can say support, fixed rigid support. This is mean position, that is O. These are A and B to our extreme position. When it start from mean, covering B, A and back to A, 0, that is O point, which is its mean. This complete process is known as its one complete oscillation. Now what is time period? When this bob is moving from O to A to B and come back to O, the time taken by this bob to come back to its original, that is mean position, that time is known as time period. For example, I am coming to definition now. This is the time taken to complete one oscillation. This is known as time period. Now another term which is related to pendulum is frequency. What is frequency? It is the number of oscillation made in 1 second. If that bob or that pendulum is oscillating, if this pendulum is oscillating, it is taking from mean, I brought it to extreme, it start moving and I am calculating the time period. If it is covering the distance or one oscillation in 1 second or 2 seconds or 4 seconds, what is the number of oscillation in 1 second? That is frequency. So number of oscillations or number of to and fro motions made in 1 second is called its frequency. The unit of frequency is hertz. Frequency and time period are inversely proportional to each other, or they are related f is equals to 1 by t, or you can say t is equals to 1 by f. How they are related? If one oscillation, we have already seen here that a time period to complete one oscillation, if one oscillation is taking 2 seconds, then what will be the time period for one oscillation? Frequency is equals to 1 by 2. It means half oscillation is there. If the object or the simple pendulum is having time period of 1 second, then come to frequency, it is 1 by 1. So frequency is 1. So inversely, if our time period is decreasing, our oscillations or the number of oscillations are increasing. In first, when it is having 2 seconds time period, frequency is 1 by 2. But when it is having 1 second time period, frequency is 1. So our frequency and time period are inversely related to each other. Now come to amplitude. What is amplitude? The maximum displacement of the bob from its mean position on either side is called amplitude. As you have seen from the diagram, we will come. The distance between mean to extreme, the maximum displacement of the bob from its mean to extreme is known as amplitude. You can measure the amplitude on either side of the extreme, from this side also, from this side also. It is already same, and we mark it with the help of small a. Amplitude is having the unit meter, as it is a distance covered, so it is in meter. Now come to length of the pendulum. As I have already shown you the pendulum, its rigid support, from its rigid support to, this is the rigid support, from its rigid supports to come up till the center of this bob, it is known as the effective length. So it is a distance of the point of oscillation from the point of suspension. The bob's center is known as point of oscillation, and the point which is the beginning of this is known as point of suspension. So the distance of point of suspension to the center of the bob, this is point of oscillation, and this is point of suspension. So the distance between these two is known as length. You can say effective length. So these are few of the terms which are related to simple pendulum. What we have done today: simple pendulum, definition of simple pendulum, oscillation. Some of the terms which are related to pendulum is oscillation, time period, frequency, amplitude, and the length of the pendulum. These all definitions are important from the exam point of view. So I recommend to underline, or you can say learn these definitions by heart.